Welcome to math today. We are on problem set 4 in module 3. If you've left your pages in your book every day, we are on page 13 today. Now, something I want to tell you before we get started, you'll notice that lesson 4 has something that I don't know if you've seen in our other lessons, but it's called a template. I don't want you to get rid of this. We're going to need it, not today, but we're going to use it in one of our future lessons. So this page that says template, there are 3 of them for lesson 4. 1, 2, 3 template pages for lesson 4. And I don't want you to get rid of those, okay? So you can just leave them in your book and skip past them to page 13 and get page 13 out. Actually, they're after page 13. So you could just pull out 13, 14, and 15, and then leave those in your book for later, okay? So even though they say lesson 4, we're not going to use them today, but we will need them. So just kind of put them aside. And you need 13 and 15, so 2 pages today, okay? So go ahead and push pause while you get your name and the date on your paper, and then come back when you're ready to get started, okay? All right, let's start with number 1 here. It says work with your partner, but because of weird distance learning, we're not going to be able to use a partner. So you're just going to have to work on it by yourself. Imagine your place value chart. A place value chart is this. You don't need to get yours out. I was just going to show you what it looks like. This is a place value chart. So a place value chart has hundreds and tens and ones. And we can use it to actually put little circles in as ones, like we do in our calendar time in the mornings. We move them over to a 10, and then we get 10 tens, and we can trade them in for 100. So that's what the place value chart is. So imagine your place value chart. Write down how you might count from the first number up to the second number. So here's the first number, 476, and they want us to write down how we might count up to 600 using that special way that we learned how to count yesterday and the day before. So we get to choose if we're going to count by ones or tens or hundreds, and when to switch and count by something different. They want us to underline the numbers where we bundle to make a larger unit. So we're going to be counting by, if we're counting by ones and we're going to switch to count by tens, we're going to underline where we switch and start counting by tens instead of ones. Or when we start counting by hundreds instead of tens, we'll underline where we switched from tens to hundreds, okay? So we're going to start at 476 here. So I'm going to write that first, and don't write humongously or you won't have room to fit it all the way across. Now, sometimes when I do this lesson with kids in class, it's kind of hard to keep your numbers organized and not going all over the place. So you might want to use your ruler and draw a straight line across the page there. I don't know where my ruler is. Let me see if I can find it really quick. Oh, I have Julia's. So if you want to use something with a straight edge to make a line across, you can put your ruler right above number 2, right on top of it, and just go ahead and draw a straight line across so that we don't get our numbers all jumbled up. And then same for this one. I'm going to put my ruler right above number 3. Make a straight line that goes all the way across. And then right above number 4. That way we don't get our numbers all mixed up with each other. Okay. All right. So we're going to start with 476 and count up to 600. So my first job, I'm going to want to make a 10 here with my 6. So I'm going to count by ones until I can make a 10. So I have 476. I'm going to say 477 because I'm going to count by ones. 478. 479. And if I'm counting by ones, what do I get next? What comes after 479 when you're counting by ones? 480. Now, this is the one that I'm going to underline, and I'm just showing that I know when I get to 480 here, I'm going to switch and start counting by tens now instead of ones. So I hope that makes sense. It's hard without seeing your guys' faces in class or having you ask me questions while I'm explaining that. That 476 we want to count by ones until we can make that 6 in the ones place, until we can make a 10. Okay, so that's what we did here. We counted by ones. We said 476, 477, 478, 479, 480. And now that we made a 10 with our ones place here, now we can switch to counting by tens. So we're trying to get all the way to 600. What happens if we're counting by tens and we have 480? That means our tens place is going to go up by 1. So we're going to have 490. Okay, now I need to decide, do I still count by tens again, or should I switch and start counting by hundreds? We're going to keep counting by tens until we have an even 100 number, okay? So 490, what comes after that if you're counting by tens? It's 500. Okay, now should I keep counting by tens and say 510, 520, 530, 540, 550, all the way up to 600? Or do you think maybe I should count by hundreds now to get to 600? Hopefully you can see that now that we made an even 100 number here, it would be a lot faster to just count by 100 to get up to 600. So we're going to underline this because after we got here, we're going to switch and count by hundreds. So I actually shouldn't have this little guy underlined, huh? Even though I was just showing you guys. I wanted to get my ones to make a 10. So now we're going to just say 600. And that's what we were trying to get to. So we're good. So we counted by ones from 476 up to 480. And then I underlined it because now we're going to switch and count by tens. We counted by tens. We said 480, 490, 500. And then I underlined the 500 because we're going to switch and count by hundreds. And then we said 500, 600. Let's practice another one. 47 up to 200. So I'm going to start with 47, and remember not to write it so huge that you can't fit all your other numbers. Do you know that this little comma, usually we use a comma when we're writing sentences, but they are also important with numbers. So we're using our commas to separate our numbers so you can tell it's not just one giant number. All right, so 47. What do you think I should count by first? Ones or tens or hundreds? Well, I want this 1 here, my 7 ones. I want to make a 10 with that before I switch to counting by tens. So I want to make sure I get a 0 here in my tens place before I start counting by tens. So we're going to say 47, 48, keep going with ones, 49, 50. And now that I've made it to 50, I'm going to underline that 50 because now I'm going to switch and I can count by tens now. So now how do I count by tens? I have 50. I'm trying to get to 200. So let's count by tens together. Ready? 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. If you count by tens, what comes after 90? My tens place has been going up by 1 when you count by tens. So a 5, and then it was a 6, and then it was a 7 in the tens, and then it was an 8 in the tens, and then a 9 in the tens. If I go up 1 more, I get a 10 in the tens place, which is 100, right? Okay, and I'm trying to get to 200. So now I'm going to underline that 100 because I'm going to switch and start counting by hundreds now. So I had 100. I'm going to count by hundreds, and I get to 200. So we counted by ones first, 47, 48, 49, 50. We switched to tens, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. We switched to hundreds, 200. Isn't that a lot faster than saying 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, all the way up to 200? That would take us a long time. Okay, next one, number 3, 188 to 510. So we're going to write 188. And now, are we going to count by ones, tens, or hundreds first? Well, we have an 8 here in the ones place, so we are going to want to make a 10 with him. So we're going to count by ones first. So 188 comes after 188 if you count by ones. 189, 190. Okay, I'm going to underline this because now look, I did what I was trying to do. I got my 0 here in my ones place. So now I can switch to counting by tens. And what happens if you count by tens? What comes after 190? If you count by tens, that is going to go up by 1. So I'm going to get 200. And actually, this one's a little bit tricky. I'm going to underline the 200 because now I can switch and count by hundreds, right? I have an even 100 number. So now I can count by hundreds, and I'm trying to get to 510. So help me remember where to figure out where to stop. So I have 200, 300, 400. Can I do another 100 or will it be too much? I can do another 100. 500. Can I do another 100 to get to 510? I can't. I would have way too much. So I'm going to underline this 500 because I can't count by hundreds anymore. I'm going to have to count by something else to get from 500 to 510. So should I count by ones or tens? From 500 to 510 there's 10 more in 510 than 500. So I can just count by a 10. I have 510. And that's it. So we counted by ones, 188, 189, 190, and then we switched and we started counting by tens, 190, 200. And then we switched and started counting by hundreds. So 200, 300, 400, 500. And then we had to stop counting by hundreds and switch to counting by a 10 here. So 510. Great job. All right, last one on the front here, number 4, 389 to 801. So we have 389. I'm going to try to make a 10 here with my ones place. So it's not yet, right? It's at 389. So I need one more 1, which is 390, to make a 10. So 389, 390, and now I can switch and count by 10. So 390, 400. Okay, and now that I'm at 400, I can switch again and count by hundreds. I'm trying to get to 801. So 400, 500, we're skip counting by hundreds, 400, 500, 600, 700, and I'm trying to get to 801. So can I do another 100? Yep, 800, okay. And then I'm trying to get to 801. So how much more do I need? If I have 800, I'm trying to get to 801. I'm going to switch. I can't count by hundreds anymore. I'd be at 900, and that's too many. So 801, I just need one more 1, 801. And that's it. Pretty good. I know it's kind of confusing for probably some of you, but just do your best to follow along, and parts of it will sink in and parts of it will be really maybe don't sink in for you, and that's okay. So this is just one skill we're building. It's another piece to that mental math part of our brain that we're trying to make stronger. Just it's another way to look at numbers. It's a new way to try to learn how to do our math in our head like that. Okay, so don't stress if that was really complicated for you and you have no idea what just happened. It's okay. It's okay. All right, let's go over the homework together. And I think that you guys are able to do this on your own today. I will go over the directions with you. If you don't think you need my help at all with the directions on the homework, you can go ahead and shut me off. Say, bye, Mrs. Cavanis, and just turn it off and go work on your homework page independently. If you would like my help with the directions part, I'm going to go over it with you. So, and this is what you'll turn in today, homework page. Marcos used the place value chart to count bundles. How many sticks does Marcos have in all? It might be nice also when I read you the directions for these, if you are going to do the homework page with me, that you just, after I read the directions for that problem, you can push pause on me and you can figure that problem out, and then push play and you can listen to me give the directions for the next problem. Okay. That's the cool thing about videos, is that you can pause and play and rewind and fast forward them when you need to. Okay. Marcos used the place value chart to count bundles. How many sticks does Marcos have in all? So this is our hundreds place, and this is our tens place, and this is our ones place. So I'm actually going to do this one with you. So how many hundreds does Marcos have here in our hundreds place? Remember, these are our big fat bundles of straws with the rubber band around them. So those are our hundreds. So how many hundreds do you see in the hundreds place on the place value chart? Hopefully you see 2. And how many tens do you see here in the tens place? How many bundles of 10 straws do you see? I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tens. So when we put a 2 here, it doesn't really mean just a 2. It means 200 because it's in the hundreds place. If we put a 5 here, it doesn't just mean 5. It means 5 tens, which is 50. That's how many straws are in the tens place. And then ones here, it really does just mean whatever that number is. So let's see how many ones we have. Count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I see 7 straws or sticks here in the ones place. All right, so that's our hundreds and our tens and our ones, and you need to put that number together and figure out what that should be right here on the line. So how many straws or sticks does Marcos have in all? Marcos has blank sticks. Okay, next problem number 2, it says write the number. So what is that bundle? It's the big fat bundle. Hopefully you remember what it is. Is it 100 or 10 or 1? And I only see that one bundle of sticks there, straws. Nothing else, just that one large bundle. So you need to look over here on the place value chart and say, how many hundreds are there in this number? How many tens are there? And how many ones are there? Okay. Number 3, these are hundreds. If you put them together, which unit will you make? Oh, so each of these are 100 straws or sticks. You need to count up how many hundreds bundles there are, okay? Once you count up the hundreds bundles, what is that unit if you put them all together? Does it make 1 when you put them all together? Does it make 100 when you put them all together? Does it make 1,000 when you put them all together? Or does it make 10 when you put them all together? So all you need to do for that one is circle the correct answer. All right, let's pancake flip it over. This one, I don't really love the question. So when I was going over this before I did it with you, I kind of fixed it. I don't like that they had a 5 in the hundreds and a 5 in the ones. It makes it kind of hard to tell if you understood the concept of place value. So I want you to take your pencil and cross out the number 585 and change it to be 485. So just cross it out, right up above it, 485, okay? I also don't like the way that they gave you blanks in the incorrect order. So it doesn't really have it in the same order that we use in the place value chart, which sort of makes it difficult to use. So I'm going to have you cross it out and put an H for hundreds. And then you can leave the tens. It's still in the middle. And then cross out the word hundreds and put an O for ones. Okay. So I actually want it to be in this order: hundreds, tens, and ones. Okay. All right. Imagine 485 on the place value chart. How many ones, tens, and hundreds are in each place? Now, since I made it kind of confusing and cross things out, I'll do this one with you. So 485, how many hundreds are in 485? I want you to put that right here on this line. How many hundreds are in the number 485? Okay. How many tens are in the number 485? So look at this number. Where's the tens place? How many tens are there in the number 485? And you're going to write the tens right here on the line. All right. And then the ones place. So 485, how many ones are there in 485? You're going to write the ones right here on this line. And that's it for that one. Okay. Fill in the blanks to make a true number sentence. 12 ones is the same as how many tens and how many ones. So if you look at this 12 here, how many tens are in that number and how many ones are in that number? That's what you're going to put here on the line. Number 6, show a way to count from 170 to 410 using tens and hundreds. Circle at least one benchmark number. So benchmark number are those ones that we underlined on the last one when we were counting. So since this is new and maybe hard for some of you, we will do this one together. So 170 is where we're going to start. So go ahead and put that on your paper, and you're not going to write it huge so you have room to fit it all. And let's begin. 170, we should be counting by ones or tens or hundreds to begin with. Well, it looks like we already made a 10 in the ones place. So we can go ahead and just count by tens. We don't need to start with ones. So 170, 180, see my tens place went up by 1, 190. And what happens if I add 10 more to that? 190, 200. And then it said circle at least one. So we're going to circle the 200 because we are going to switch and count by something else now that we got to 200. So we're trying to get up to 410 and we're at 200. So how many hundreds can we put on there? 2. So we can go 200, 300, 400. Okay, and I'm trying to get to 410. So I need to stop counting by hundreds now. I'm going to circle that. I can't count by hundreds anymore. Now I'm going to switch and I'm going to count by tens. So 400, 410. I could have counted by ones, but that would take a long time. So the tens works a lot better to just say 410 instead of saying 401, 402, 403, all the way up to 410. All right, and the last problem for your homework page, it says, Mrs. Sullivan's students are collecting cans for recycling. Frederick collected 20 cans, Danielle collected 9 cans, and Minna and Charlie each collected 100 cans. How many cans did the students collect in all? This is an important part. In all is an important word that lets us know we're supposed to be adding. So they want to know how many in all means put them all together, right? And when you put something all together, you're adding numbers up. So we would like to take all of the numbers of cans. We have Frederick's, which were 20, plus Danielle's that were 9, plus Minna and Charlie each collected 100. So Minna has 100 and Charlie has 100 also. Okay, so that is your addition problem. Now, it kind of looks like a really big problem with all those numbers in there, but when you put them together, it's actually really not. So I see 2 hundreds. So I know that in my hundreds place, I could put a 2, right? There's a 100 and a 100, and you put them together and you get 200, right? And I see 2 tens and 9 ones. And when you put 2 tens and 9 ones together, 20 plus 9 is 29. So we have 200 plus 29 equals 229. And now I need my sentence. So how many cans did the students collect in all? The, with a capital at the beginning, students, we're not going to spell that wrong because it's up there in the problem, collected, and that is also up there. You just have to add an ED to make it collected instead of, oh no, collected is right here. ED. Yep, there's collected. The students collected 229. And then I'm going to have to come down here. Oh, I can squeeze it in. Cans. Period. Okay. And that's it. Thank you for joining me today for lesson 4. I will see you again tomorrow. Bye.